What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Hope all you're having a great day so far. Getting into this episode of GH. Once again, I don't know what the writer's intentions are with Maxie. I really don't. But from what I've been seeing the last few months, it just seems like they have no direction for her character. Like, the only thing I've seen of her so far is that she's a busybody. She's always in everybody's business, trying to get the tea, get the dirt, figure out who doing what. And I feel like that character is so much more than a busybody. Way more than that. And I just hate that that's the current narrative for her. You know what I mean? Like, why just showcase her running around trying to be in everybody's business instead of getting some business of her own? You know what I mean? Like, there's plenty that they can do with Maxie. Why insert her in everybody's situations that have nothing to do with her? Now she's sitting there asking Sasha all these questions about her and Michael and trying to get the dirt on their relationship and figure out what they're doing. Why is that of concern to Maxie, of all people? Why is she so concerned about Michael and Sasha and what they're doing? Why is that her business? I mean, yeah, we've seen her have conversations with Michael here and there, but her and Michael, I wouldn't really consider them besties. You know what I mean? They're not besties. They're not close. So why are you all up in their business? It just goes to show they have nothing for Maxie to do. You know, and it's sad because I see so much more for that character. You know, she's a legacy character, been on the show for years. This is the best that y'all have for Maxie to do? Run around and be in everybody's business? I'm just saying, do better. Find something better for her to do. There's plenty that you can do. You know, even with the Crimson stuff, that's plenty right there. You can get a lot of drama for her out of that. I mean, if you're not putting her and Michael together, I don't see the point in her being in their business. I'm just saying. But anyway, so Sasha is really starting to feel the effects of whatever the hell that drug was that Cassandra put into her grapefruit when her and Michael was in Puerto Rico. She's really starting to feel the effects of it. I wonder what that drug was. Like, even when she was talking to Maxie and stuff, she started feeling tired and sleepy. Then when she got home, she just passes out. You know, she finally passes out and the drugs just take effect. I'm like, what kind of drug was that she put into her? Like, Cassandra's nuts. Ain't no telling what that was. That could have been anything. Hopefully it's not deadly or anything that's going to have a lasting side effect to it. But you just never know with Cassandra. And you know those selfies that she took with Michael and Sasha that Cassandra took? I wonder what she plan on doing with those selfies. Like, is she going to send that to Nina or Valentin? Like, what is she planning on doing? Like, what is her goal here? I mean, obviously she's going to be laying low for a while because clearly after Michael and Sasha, you know, after Michael recognized her, and she told him her connection to Port Charles and stuff, she clearly had to, you know, go to a whole nother country again. She had to dip back under the radar again. So who knows when she plans to fully pop out and, you know, come to Port Charles and do some damage. So who knows what that end game is. So Nina is ready to plan her little wedding or whatever to Valentin now that the Ava issue is over. That wedding, we all know that wedding is not going to happen. We know it's going to be a lot of drama going on at that wedding. We already know. With all these secrets that's about to come out, it's going to be some drama. And, you know, I did like the scenes with Jax and Hayden. Because they're figuring things out. Because she was wondering how she could be so drunk off of one drink. But Jax already know. You know, Valentin poisoned that drink. They don't know it's a truth serum, but they know it was poisoned. And Jax knows that drink was obviously meant for him and not Hayden. So they're trying to come up with a plan or whatever. And part of the plan is to use Nina. I mean, that is Valentin's, you know, weakness. That's his Achilles heel. So why not target her to get to him? You know what I mean? That's his major weakness. Because obviously they're not going to target Charlotte because she's a child. You know, and that's not Jax's style. But, you know, Jax is figuring things out about the Cassandra situation. Because I think that's part of the reason Valentin is not always so honest and forthcoming with Nina. Because she's not subtle. Her constantly mention Cassandra Pierce around Jax made him suspicious, because he's like, she kept mentioning it too often. You know what I mean? Like every chance she gets, she brings up Cassandra Pierce, which makes him think, okay, what is so important that you constantly, like, what is your connection to Cassandra that you have to keep bringing it up every time you're in my presence? And that's what Nina does, because she's not subtle. This is why part of the reason I think Valentin keeps secrets from her, because it's like, it's not that he doesn't trust her. He trusts her, but when it comes to vital information, I don't think you can really trust her with it, because she's not subtle. She's not discreet. You know what I mean? She has a tendency to kind of let on that she's up to something or she knows something. She's just not quiet about anything, you know. And her constantly bringing up Cassandra in front of Jax and stuff like that. I mean, how does Jax not get suspicious by that? You know what I mean? Like, how could you not? Only an idiot wouldn't get suspicious when somebody constantly brings something up in your presence. Clearly, they're hinting at something. You know what I mean? Like hinting that they know something, or they're trying to get information out of you. You know what I mean? Like beating around the bush about stuff, like, and they're not doing it in a subtle manner. You know what I mean? Like, she needs to work on that, you know, like Nina really does, because you're not slick. Like Jax has so far been a couple of steps ahead of her, and she's not realizing it. She keeps thinking that her and Valentin have one up or whatever on Jax and Hayden, which you don't. You know what I mean? Like, not even close. All you know now is that, yeah, they're up to something. That's all Nina and Valentin know, is that they're obviously looking for something, but the question is what? And it might take them even longer to figure out the what. You know what I mean? Because Nina's not really the sharpest knife in the drawer. Not always. Especially when you don't know how to be discreet. Like, she needs to learn that. Subtlety is key when you're dealing with certain people. I understand where Jax is coming from, where he's telling Hayden basically, like, since Finn moved on, she needs to move on. Finn can tell himself he moved on all he want, but them eyes was saying something different. That facial expression, like, on both of them, was saying a whole different story. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were saying one thing, but that body language and that face, that was saying something completely different. I don't care what Finn said. He could say, oh, I'm in love with Anna, I'm going to marry Anna. You could say that until you blue in the face. But you clearly have strong feelings for this other woman who left you at the altar. You know what I mean? Those feelings don't just go away just because time has passed, you're in a new relationship. He thought he was over her, and I think it made it easier for him because she wasn't in town. You know, she was out of the country or wherever she was. So it made it easier for him to move on and not really think about her. Even though in the back of his mind, obviously he was thinking about her. But it made it easy for him to just freely move on and really keep up the facade that, oh, I don't want her back, I'm not in love with her. It made it easier because she wasn't physically there. But now that she's physically there and Anna's not, that facade is starting to crack. You know what I'm saying? Like, that whole front that he keep putting up is starting to fade. Any fool can see that. You know what I mean? And it makes it even harder because Anna's not there. But I think if Anna was there, I think even she might notice, or she might have her suspicions, because you can't tell me Anna wouldn't. She already kind of had her suspicions before, especially when it came to that letter that Hayden sent him, or that text, or whatever the case may be, about him coming to meet with her. You could tell Anna was suspicious, but she was supportive of him going, because she's not really the insecure, jealous type. You know, she's too old for all of that. But he definitely has strong feelings for Hayden, and Hayden still got strong feelings for him. I don't care what they say. You can move on 20 times over. Those feelings are still there. They don't just go away overnight. They're lying to each other. They're lying to each other. They're lying to themselves, and they're lying to Jax and Anna and everybody else around them. They just keeping up with the lie. Because you know what they say. The bigger the lie, the more they believe. And people are starting to not believe it because the lie obviously is not that big. You know what I mean? Like, they're not believing that nonsense. Definitely not. It's always great to see my two faves, though. Laura and Scotty sitting there having a chat. Scott, I don't understand what he thought Laura could do as mayor to the psychic. I do agree Ava need to leave these psychics alone because it's a waste of time and money. I understand she wants Kiki to be at peace, but this is not the way to get her to be at peace, by hiring a psychic and trying to force Kiki to speak with you from the afterlife. That's not how you're going to get peace for her or yourself. And I do feel like this is more about Ava than it is about Kiki. I feel like this is more for Ava, because Ava does not have peace. And I said this before, she doesn't have peace within herself, because she allowed herself to be manipulated and played by someone who murdered her daughter. And by the way she treated her daughter before she passed. That guilt is always going to eat at her. She's not going to be at peace, no matter what she tries to do. That's why I feel like therapy could be good for Ava too. I feel like Ava need to be in some good therapy too. She needs it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like she needs it. She could use a good therapist at this point, because these psychics are of no help to you. I mean, yeah, they're telling you little bits and pieces and stuff, but I just feel like it's a huge waste of her time, because it's not going to do you no good. You know what I mean? All it's doing is wasting your time and depleting your bank account all at the same time. So why keep doing it? You know what I mean? Like, you're just going to have to find peace some other way, because that ain't it. I'm just saying. But I do love how Laura constantly, is there for Ava, even though they're not friends, hardly. They're definitely not friends, but I do like how Laura is so, like, nice to people, even people that she might despise. She's still somewhat cordial and, decent towards them, especially Ava. You know what I mean? Like, she's there as a shoulder to lean on to give advice, and that's what I love about Laura. She's definitely the heroine of the town. Is she perfect? No, but she's quite fair when dealing with people. Except for Valentin, of course, but that's for good reason. And she can relate to Ava, you know what I mean? Because she knows what it's like to lose a child. Even though her child is not dead, but she don't know that. But she knows what it's like, you know what I'm saying? To go through so much, to have pain in your life and stuff. She know how it is. So she's one of the perfect people to talk to Ava. Even though Ava might not heed that warning. And I do love the friendship that Ava has with Scott, because Scott is always looking out for Ava. Somehow, some way, he finds a way to try to be there for her and look out for her. So I do like that. You know what I mean? I'm going to be honest. I have to be totally honest. I feel like, as far as Sam being a private investigator, I feel like it's time for Sam to hang up the boots. I think it's time. Because it's like she's always a damsel in distress. Somebody always has to come help her and save her. How are you going to be a PI if you're always going to need rescuing? You know what I mean? Like, I think you might want to find a less dangerous profession. Even though, her snooping around Shiloh's room had nothing really to do with being a PI in a way. But still, it's like, all this little action jacks and stuff that she keep trying to do, it's not working for you. You know what I mean? Not unless you're going to get some self-defense and learn how to handle yourself against men. You might want to just back out of that profession. Not to sound sexist or anything, because I'm not trying to sound like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm all for women being in some type of law enforcement or private investigate. I'm all for it, but you have to know how to take care of yourself too. You know what I mean? Because you're going to go up against some pretty strong dudes. And you can't always look around for somebody to come save you, especially if you choose to be in that profession. I don't care if you asset protection or whatever it is that you want to do that requires that security, whatever. You have to know how to handle yourself when you're by yourself. You're not always going to have somebody there to come rescue you. You know what I mean? So it's best that you get the proper training. I'm just saying. And I think that's what Sam should do, or leave the business. You know what I mean? Because Jason constantly has to come and be Captain Save-A-Ho all the time. It's like, how many times in a year are you going to need saving? Get it together. So this whole Dr. Cabot nonsense with Shiloh, it's getting totally ridiculous. It's getting ridiculous. Now all of a sudden Finn is claiming that you can do the memory mapping with someone who's not a twin. Since when? Because before they said that you can try and do it, but my understanding was if you try, you run the risk of either killing that person or leaving them in a vegetative state. Because the memory mapping was designed for twins, not for people who are not twins, like regular people. It's designed for twins. That's it. It works better on them. So, Franco, of course, found Cam, which I figured he might. Thanks to Scott, because Scott got a phone call that Cameron, I guess his car got, he was illegally parked at that location. Of course, Shiloh's the one who illegally parked the car. So he got a ticket. So Franco went to the address to go find Cameron, and he stumbled upon Shiloh and Dr. Cabot. I was happy with Cameron. Cameron was doing whatever he had to do to try to get up out that situation. He tried threatening him with Jason, throwing Jason's name around. He tried kicking his feet, he even kicked Shiloh and the family jewels, which was entertaining to me. Dr. Cabot, at the very least, was talking like he had some sense. He was trying to come to his senses, because even though Dr. Cabot is shady, there are limits to what he's willing to do. And putting Drew's memories into a child was not something he was willing to do, because he didn't want to do that. But Shiloh pretty much told him, well, if you don't do it, the alternative is, at this point, we both go to prison for life. I mean, Shiloh, you're about to go to prison for practically life anyway. So that's why Shiloh is desperate at this point, because he needs that money. Shiloh needs Drew's memories implanted in somebody so desperately, because he wants that offshore money that he got, that reserve, that money that he got in Afghanistan. He needs it, because my guess is once he gets it, he's going to blow Dodge. He's probably going to try to leave the country, because he knows he's wanted at this point. Especially after what he did to Sam. That's a new set of charges. You know what I mean? After what he did to Sam, that's a whole new set of charges. So he in trouble right there. But my guess is, now that Franco stumbled upon their little operation, he's probably gonna try to put the memories into Franco. And somehow Franco's probably gonna turn into Drew, of how Drew was back in his Navy days. It's so convoluted. I'm like, Shiloh just need to give it up. Dr. Cabot needs to give it up too. Little shyster. They all just need to give it up. Like, stop with the whole memory mapping, because it's not going to work. In this case, though, it's too risky. But, of course, Dr. Cabot is shady and shysty. So, of course, for a piece of money, he's willing to do whatever. But I also wonder with Laura, like, why she was calling Chelsea, the psychic. Because Ava told her, she was like, she could work for you too. I wonder if I wonder what that phone call was about. Because Laura called Chelsea, and I wonder what that's about. Like, what was she calling the psychic for? Like, does she need some information? Like, I'm wondering about that one. But anyway, this was a decent episode, though. Hit the comment section. Let me know what y'all thought about today's episode. I will see y'all all later. Peace.